So regardless of the granularity of the business or the
You learned that
analysis of
word
the business,
yesterday, innit?
listen, I'm going to use that word. Regardless of how deep we look into the actual business, we really buy stocks to benefit from the stocks appreciating in value. Welcome to another episode of Stock List. Today you can see that we're doing something completely different. We're actually going through, it's not Skype, what do you call it?
Zoom.
That's it.
The forgotten app.
The forgotten app, bro. So as you can see today, we've got a special guest. So Mike, would you like to help us introduce our special guest?
Myself.
No, not you.
So we will allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Cassie. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for extending the invite. So I'm from Canada. I'm from Montreal. We met on Instagram while we both are very passionate about stocks. We both share information about stocks. I work in finance. I do one-on-ones, and I also do workshops on investing in the stock market. And I started my planner company as well, where I sell financial planners to help everyone reach their financial freedom.
That is amazing.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
How did you find the gem? That's good. All right. So what topic are we discussing today? Actually, before we go into the topic, we just want to let you guys know that since we've gone out of the way to get you guys a special guest, we want you to like the video and share it before we get into it.
That's it. We want to see this video in every single WhatsApp group that you have on your phone.
All right.
So,
that's it.
What topic have we got today?
So we are speaking about a company who owns luxury brands. Some people's MCMs have bought some of the gifts under this brand for their WCW.
That's Woman Crush Wednesday for those who don't know.
That's it. So the brand is called Kering. Their ticker is KER for anyone who's looking for them. They are currently listed on the French stock exchange, which is called the Euronext Paris. As of today, which is November the 17th, their share price is 721 euros, not dollars, but euros. And they do pay dividends, which is good. I love dividends because it shows that they value you as an investor. They currently pay 8 euros per share. Before COVID, it was 10 euros per share, but obviously, as you know, everyone's been
sweating.
So, so they can't pay as much, but it's still something. Something is better than nothing.
So what's the 1 year performance? So
1 year performance, 15% or 15.65%. Year to date, 24.18%, which is good because, as we always say, the bank would have paid you 0.1% in the past year. So you can't complain, really. Their 52-week high and low is, at the low end, it's 513 euros, and at the high end, 798 euros. So currently, they are peaking at the top.
Yeah, they're trending near the top of the 52-week average.
Yeah, so if you remember, I said that they're currently 721 euros and their max was 798. So yeah, like Ian said, they're trending towards the top end.
So I'd wait to buy. No, I'm joking. We'll get into
that. We'll get into that.
All right, cool stuff. So would you like to tell us some information about who founded Kering Group and, why we're here?
Why we're here? We're here because I was looking into Gucci, and the more I researched, I found out they were owned by Kering. And looking into Kering, I found out Kering owns Gucci, YSL, Bottega Veneta, and many other luxurious houses. And I was curious to know, those houses their products are pretty hefty. I wonder what their revenues are. So I looked into it, and their background, if I look down, it's because I'm looking at my iPad.
That's okay. Yeah.
So Kering was actually founded by François Pinault. So he's the father, and he actually started business in the timber business back in the 80s, and then he switched to retail, and by the end of the 90s he was doing luxurious brands.
Mm-hmm.
So he acquired Gucci for $3 billion. And then he bought YSL, he bought Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, etc. He also owns the investment company Artemis, which is their family investment holding company. He's the founder, but he's no longer at the helm. The helm is now held by his son. I know his son because he's married to Salma Hayek. But so that's the background behind who they are. And also their company, I found interesting. Their holding company, which is Artemis, also owned Christie's, which is an auction house in the UK.
Okay.
Auction art or?
Yeah. It's a pretty high class auction house in the UK.
Okay. That's amazing, man. That's a lot of information about the company.
Quite
itself.
a lot. Like we said, your MCM or WCWs have probably bought a Gucci bag for somebody or something. McQueen's, it's true.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the pros and cons and let you know why we think this might be a good investment or why it may not be a good investment. But before we get into that, we need to say a little disclaimer.
We are not financial advisors.
Yep. Take everything we say with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. Maggie,
paprika,
and anything in the kitchen.
That's it.
So let's get into it. Right.
Paprika.
Paprika, that's a bit of it, you know.
And that disclaimer holds for me as well. Yeah. I'm also not a financial advisor.
That's it. Pro number one. Do you want to kick it off, Cassie?
Yeah, I think one of the pros is that it's a legacy company. It's a family-owned business. The father has been doing this for a really long time, and the way that he switched the business over the years has proven to be successful. So he's telling us that they know what they're doing, and they are still acquiring new businesses. Recently, they acquired a Danish eyewear company called Lindberg. Lindberg is currently offered in eyewear boutique throughout the world. So it will be interesting to see how they fare within Kering now that they're part of it.
Okay. That's a very good point, because as a company, you need to continue to grow in order for your business to be in people's face. So it's really good that they're not just relying on what's in their portfolio and they're actually looking to expand. They've
actually got very good acquisitions. Obviously, I think that's probably their strategy, acquiring the best brands. And they've done that with YSL, Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, and obviously adding Lindberg now. Yeah, it's good. It's good. For me, my main pro would be the fact that it's more affordable to own their stock than to actually own a piece of clothing or an asset from their catalog. So for example, someone might want to purchase a Gucci bag and wait for it to appreciate. You can just buy the stock and let that appreciate, and then you make your money that way. You know,
you use the stock money to buy the products.
There you go, mate. And one pro as well is that they obviously pay dividends. So that's like a whole thing in itself. You know, your Gucci bag is not going to pay you dividends until you sell it.
It could be sitting on Depop for a whole 2 years before you get a seller.
Exactly. So it does make sense to, well, from that perspective, it would make sense to purchase the stock. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that pro that Ian's mentioned, Cassie?
No, I think you're right. Some luxury items do appreciate, some more than others, but one thing they do not do is give you dividends. It can be done.
It's true. So if we're going to pro number 3, which is a big one for me, it's the fact that in the past year, especially as we've been in COVID lockdown, their online sales have grown. It's grown at a firm pace, up by 24%. And year on year, and 147% in the same period in comparison to 2019. This is massive because we couldn't go to the stores to try things on. So the fact that they've been able to persuade people to buy things online is really good, especially as it's a luxury brand, or they have luxury brands under their group. Whether or not they will be able to maintain this level of growth is yet to be seen and something we'll discuss in the cons.
Okay. Yeah. I do agree with the whole online sales growth and growing at a firm pace. Obviously, with COVID and things going back to normal, we need to really understand how that's going to affect the online stores.
Yeah.
You know, so I would I do agree that it's a pro currently, online sales growing, but we need to see how the world how online sales adjust to the world going back to normal,
especially as we're able to fly now, and if you're spending £400-500 on a bag, you want to spend it in the store, get the whole experience, get the champagne on arrival.
100%. Yeah. And the tourism is actually a key one, because I know Louis Vuitton has nothing to do with this, but we went to the Louis Vuitton store in Paris, the Champs-Élysées, to actually, you know, look at the Louis stuff properly and experience that feel, and then obviously purchase something from there. So it is something that people do, traveling to the store.
So you're a man of class.
I mean, once. Happened once. My whole life.
And also the e-commerce thing was also noted in their financial statements. So it's, for some of their brands, it helps store like 80% of their revenues. So, and we'll see how in the long run, when they mix both the online and the physical stores, how that's going to fare for their business as well.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
All right.
So pro number 4, Cassie.
So another pro is the brands that they have within their portfolio. So we know about Gucci, we know about YSL, we know there's also a Balenciaga, there's Bottega Veneta, which is kind of the darling of the past 2 years. We've seen a huge hype around Bottega Veneta because of their bags, because of their shoes, because of rap references, because of influencer, because of so many things, but definitely their leather goods and their accessories jumped up. And you see it too in the revenues that they made, because in the financial statements, you see that there's been an increase. It's probably one of the only brands that had an increase in 2020, when everybody was kind of like, you know, going more so downside because of COVID. And so I think it's definitely a key to their portfolio, as well as the other brands that they have. They also have Balenciaga. Balenciaga recently did a collab with Gucci that proves we're going to see how that's going to translate into their revenues, but based off of the chit chat on social media, I think it's gonna do very well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and I feel like, adding to your point, brands like Balenciaga in the past, when they've really, like, they number one, they come with very, very strong pieces, which actually go, is the word viral? They go very mainstream. It's luxury, but it's still mainstream. Like the arenas, the socks,
the triple S.
They were very successful. You know what I'm saying? And they were still sought after, even though I don't want to say everyone had it, but everyone had it. But they were still sought after. You know. So I feel like they have strong brands who deliver strong pieces. So. Yeah, man.
But also to the point of Balenciaga and Gucci, I think they use their social media platforms really well. They know their customers, they know how to grab our attention, they know how to keep people talking by releasing products that sometimes may not be the best visually, but they know that it's going to create a viral moment, and that's what they need. Because if you create a viral moment, that's going to translate into clicks, right? Which will translate into purchases. So those two brands, I feel like they're really on the pulse of, we know how to speak to our audience and we know how to speak to potential customers, because they're both aspirational brands, in my opinion.
I agree. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And adding to that, which is the next pro, is the fact that some of the brands underneath the umbrella are able to create very strong, timeless pieces. Do you understand? Obviously, we've seen that in the past. Like a lot of Gucci products are just timeless pieces. Do you understand? Some Gucci bags, you know, are gonna be there forever. What's that little? There's a little Gucci bag that a lot of girls have, and I just see it as a timeless
piece. Heart at the back?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the Mormon line. I don't think the line is going anywhere.
No, it's not. Gucci snake as well. That whole thing was actually a very big thing, you know. The I don't know the name of the actual Gucci trainers that had a snake on the side.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I know exactly.
And then they had
to your point, we both went like, oh yeah, we both know what
it's true. Yeah,
people know, you know, like,
know,
and I think even though the season for the snake might go, if you own that piece, it's still relevant,
of course,
forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, when they had the B on the Gucci sneakers for a while, that's forever.
Look at the McQueens. Like, I'm wearing McQueens now. Like, McQueen's is
they're
something
gonna be relevant. McQueen's for a fact are not going like. They're not gonna go out of fashion. I don't see it going out of fashion. The McQueens, you can just wear it. You know, so based on that, I think they have timeless pieces, and those timeless pieces can carry the whole umbrella, not just the brands. They can carry the whole umbrella.
That's if they continue to bring timeless pieces. Yeah. So that leads to point number 7, is the fact that even though their creative director is leaving or has left, they've quickly appointed a new director whose name I do not want to ruin.
Matteo Blasi. Matteo. How would you say?
Matteo
Blasi. Blasi or Blasi?
Matteo Blasi.
Okay, from Raf Simons.
So he previously worked at Raf Simons, Mason Margiela, and Calvin Klein. For me, the brands.
And that's for Bottega Veneta, right?
So he's newly appointed creative director of Bottega, and he's come from, like I said, Mason Margiela, Calvin Klein, Ralph Simmons. The problem for me is that these brands are dying brands, unfortunately. They're not really brand. Mason Margiela, that was 2017. People were buying the
Margielas. No, but there are.
Okay, maybe in the UK.
In the UK, but there is one. I can't remember the name of these. We'll probably put the pictures in the video, but
I know exactly what you're talking
about.
The
Margielas. There's some really simple Margielas which are not going anywhere.
Why haven't you bought them?
I wanted to, but I bought the Gucci's instead.
Oh, okay.
There's some Mason Margielas. I'll find the photo and then I will probably put it in the video.
Navy, like suede. Like, I know what
they're suede, but they're black and they're very simple. They're very simple.
We'll put it in the video.
I just wish I knew the name off the top of my head. I should have
exactly
done that research and put it in.
They got the same shape as the Gucci sneaker.
Yeah.
And there's also a boot that they wear, that they sell, that's also timeless. I know it's not everybody's taste, but it's
the one
you'll see it.
The one with the big straps.
No, it's like it has that design on the foot. It's called the tabby shoe or the tabby boots. That's very, very, when it's Margiela when you see that boot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Black replica. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's the shoe you were referring to, yeah.
So I don't think those are going anywhere, because I really wanted to get them at one point. But then,
I have not seen anyone in the past 5 years wear those. He's come from brands which, in the past few years, as a creative director, I want to know that you've had a major part in bringing timeless pieces to these brands. Calvin Klein, I couldn't tell you a timeless piece from them. When I shop Calvin Klein, it's only boxes. Mason Margiela.
But I know, Cassie, you had a thing. You had a thing or two to say about that. You had a expression.
Yeah.
There's, Calvin Klein has the luxury side, and then they have the diffuse line, which is, the boxers. And the things, the products that we commonly know about Calvin Klein, I wouldn't totally take them out. I don't have too much to add, I admit, but I'm just saying that it's definitely not as relevant as brands like Balenciaga and Gucci, but they also have a totally different audience, right? Their clients and customers are completely different in that sense.
True. Would you think?
And also,
no, sorry, go on, finish. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, to the point of Mathieu, the new creative director for Bottega, sometimes it's good when they don't come from like huge houses, because that can also bring a shadow into their next chapter, right? It could add a lot of pressure, because he's already going to face a lot of pressure from all the girls loving the bags, loving the shoes. They're probably not going to want like a big a drastic change. If it's going to be a change, let it be in the same direction. So he's already coming in with a lot of pressure. But if he was too influenced by his previous work experiences, who knows how that could reflect. But as he's more so new to the common, to all of us, you know, that may play into his advantage by bringing like fresh ideas, styles, you know.
True. Yeah, that's
playing devil's advocate here.
No, that's good, because I personally didn't think of it that way. I just thought of it as he's coming from a brand or brands that for me have been dying for the past few years. But as you said, there's no pressure for him. He has got experience in big brands. At the end of the day, they are big brands. But he's starting
a fresh. He's got a clean slate, really and truly. Yeah. Less pressure.
Less pressure.
That makes sense. Yeah. No, that's good. That's a very good take on it. And I feel like to really understand certain stocks, you should be able to go that granular into understanding the business. So I think these points that you've made are really top notch. Yeah. And that closes out the pros.
Yeah.
We're going to go now into the cons, and I will kick it off with the first one. So regardless of the granularity of the business, or the
you learned that word yesterday,
listen, I'm going to use that word. Regardless of how deep we look into the actual business, we really buy stocks to benefit from the stocks appreciating in value, right? And when it's all said and done, this specific stock hasn't gone up that much in the past year, literally just 9%. Whereas I don't want to compare to a great stock like LVMH. LVMH has gone up in the past year by 50%.
Oh, 1 year performance actually.
Oh,
15%.
it's actually 15. Sorry, my bad. So not quite. Okay, not as bad as 9%, but okay, let's say 15% is still not on the same level as its competitors, such as LVMH, who are appreciating by 50%.
Yeah,
you understand? So for me, I'm not gonna say it's the end of the world. It's not terrible. It's not the worst.
It's better than what you're getting in your bank.
Exactly, but we have to be relative in our comparisons, and when we compare it to its competitor, 15% and 50% is worlds apart, bro. It's worlds apart. You understand?
And this is the part where I'll say, yes, in this realm, LVMH is their competitor. However, LVMH has way more companies under them. Their offering, their roster is more diverse. I don't want to say bigger, but because they have more, it then translate into a bigger offering. They have Sephora, they have, God, who do they not have? They have Sephora, and they do fashion, they do cosmetics,
alcohol as well.
Alcohol, come on now.
It's true. Fragrances, they've got a lot. Yeah, they own what's Rihanna's line?
Fenty,
that's it. And then they had
Fenty would have done a lot as well.
Exactly. Then they had the Kim K thing with Fendi and Skims.
Oh yeah.
So Kim K and Rihanna under LVMH, and then they've got Jay-Z's Ace of Spades.
All right.
Them three.
So it's a poor comparison. Leave me alone.
We've kind of killed this brand without realizing.
I mean, 15% is not the end of the world, but there are other brands and other stocks that you can buy with a better return after a whole year.
Yeah, that's
my point.
And I think that the LVMH stock is trading at a price that's quite similar to KER, because the LVMH as of today is 726 euros compared to Kering Stock, which is 721. So you do the math.
Wow. Oh
wow. I don't know, man. We need to go back to the chart and see which one is deeper. All right, cool. So what's point number 2?
So point number 2 is similar to what you said about poor performance. However, when you dig deeper, you look into their net income. In comparison, again, we can't really compare the two with LVMH, but if I just stick to Kering, year on year, it's just been around for the past 3 years around the 2 billion mark. They haven't broken that 2 billion mark yet, and that's worrying.
They haven't broken out of it.
Yeah, that's worrying. As a business, you want to see that there's growth, especially if your sales, you can see that the sales is going up, but you're not retaining enough of the income from the sales. There's a problem. There's a big problem somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
So so that's con number 2. I think it's self-explanatory, really.
Con number 3.
Con number 3, again, like I said, we can't really compare LVMH. Like Cassie said, LVMH is just massive. It's just so massive, but their net income has gone up steadily. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it's from 3 billion to 5 billion to 7 billion, whereas Kering has stayed around the 2 billion mark in the past 3 years. So So if we move on to point number 4, Cassie.
So point number 4 is we're going back to Daniel Lee leaving Bottega and Mathieu Blazy being appointed to the house. We don't know how he's going to fare. We don't know how he's going to be received. Will he be loved? Will he be liked? Will it be a total disaster? We don't know. And that's obviously going to affect the stock. It's going to affect their finances. So that leaves an open door to uncertainty, which plays against them for the short term.
Of course. To add to that as well, there is a rumor. If this is true, you've heard it here first. If this is not true, then I apologize. But there is a rumor that Daniel is going to work with a lady called Phoebe, who was at Celine. She is moving on to create her own brand, which LVMH do have a minority stake in. So if Daniel goes to work with Phoebe, let's say some people might say he's working for LVMH, which is a direct rival to Kering. So that's one we need to look out for. What is Daniel actually going to do next? Because Kering wouldn't want him to leave their company to go to a direct rival.
It's risky.
And also to your point, Phoebe Philo, like you said, she used to be the designer for Celine. She left for a couple of years. I think people were still sad about that. Like, she was huge, okay? And then the fact that she's coming back and that LVMH has a stake in her company, it's gonna go through the roof. Like, we haven't seen anything, but I know it's gonna be like super successful. So again, to play on the competitive edge, how will Kering meet that competition, or will they not, right? We'll see.
So when you look through the numbers, when you look through the financial statements, what we don't see is any figures about R&D. And we feel like that's very worrying, because
what's R&D for anyone who doesn't know?
Research and development. That's basically when a company just invests in research and development, making the products and services better. It's very, very self-explanatory. Obviously, we're not going to say they're not putting any money into research and development. All we're saying is that they don't show it. So we don't know how well they're planning for the future.
And why is that a problem for a shareholder?
It's a problem for a shareholder because you want to be able to know that the company is taking its future seriously. It's that simple.
They're innovating.
They're innovating. They want to release better items in the future, better quality, better designs, right? Obviously, when we look at a competitor, I don't want to say the name, LVMH. When we look at LVMH, we can clearly see in the books that they have.
I think you need to apply for a job at LVMH.
I might. Free Louis bags forever. I don't mind. So when we look at LVMH, we can clearly see that they have an allocation for R&D, but worryingly enough, we don't see that in the Kering Group books. And we've looked on various sources. We've looked at 3 different websites, right? And we couldn't find any numbers. So as an investor, I'd be curious to find out why. That's my point. That's everything, man.
So
final thoughts.
So first question, Cassie, are you avoiding or are you buying this stock?
Given my risk tolerance and the vision that I have for my portfolio, which it leans more on the aggressive side, more high risk tolerance, this is not a hold for me because their stock performance is not, it doesn't meet my criteria to make it to my portfolio. However, it's a miss for me, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good stock. Because I have a high risk tolerance. So if somebody out there doesn't have a high risk tolerance, if somebody's more like low to moderate risk appetite, then it could be worth looking into, as it's a pretty stable stock. It doesn't move crazy. It's not volatile at all. And, you know, it's a legacy company. It's generational wealth, if you want to look at it like that as well. It's going to be around. It's not going anywhere. They have to work on their offerings. They have to work on their numbers, yes, but Kering is not going anywhere anytime soon. So for someone with a different risk appetite than mine, this may be worth looking into.
And a rating out of 5?
Out of 5, because of my risk appetite, I would say 3.
Okay.
Not because of who they hold, because I do like their houses, the houses that they own, but for stock purposes only, I would say 3 for sure.
Oh, cool. And myself, I don't think it's a bad stock. I do think it's a stock that has potential, or a company that has potential. However, they've got too many issues to tackle. With some of their brands, for example, with Bottega, with new creative director, we need to see what he's going to do. Gucci, we need to see what Gucci is going to do. Online sales, are they going to continue growing that side of things, or are they going to focus on in-store? So they've got a lot of issues at the moment. So it's one that I would potentially keep on my watch list. Maybe further down the line, I might invest in it. However, their rivals, again, LVMH, I know you're probably watching this and thinking why we mention LVMH so much, but LVMH is one of the companies that I believe in. They're a global powerhouse.
Okay, so LVMH over Kering, basically.
LVMH over Kering. So again, my rating 3 out of 5.
Okay. So my take is completely different, as I mentioned before. So my whole thing is fashion is very volatile. So an example is Balenciaga dropped the arenas and the socks, and it's speeds. Yeah, and they went off. Do you understand? So you never know when one of the houses could do something amazing. So for me, it's a buy and hold. And just wait for something amazing to happen, and then you can cash out. So that's it for me. I would put something in there and just wait for the inevitable, which is fashion. It goes up and it comes back down.
One question: would you buy at the current price?
Oh, it's trending quite high, close to the 52-week high. So it's a risk to buy now. But if it did dip at any point, I would look to go in. Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, and I would hold it at 4.
Also, an alternative, if somebody doesn't want to buy the stock or to pay such a hefty price, there's also ETFs that hold both LVMH and Kering, and also other, luxurious or high class brands. So I have 2 for you. One is Luxe, so it's LUXE. And the other one is EWQ. So if someone is looking they're interested, they like those houses, but they don't want to pay 700 plus euros, then those ETFs are trading at I think $30-something, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 32.88 USD for the LUXE1, and EWQ is trading at $40 USD. So very different prices. It's an ETF, so obviously they have other holdings within their portfolio, but you are exposed to Kering and LVMH without having to dish out huge amounts.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to look into those ETFs myself. So just to round off everything we've said, so again, Like we said, we're not financial advisors. Take everything we say with a pinch of salt. Maggie, paprika.
Everything in the kitchen.
And if you've got any suggestions of any fashion brands that you want us to look into, drop that in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your auntie, uncle, your cat, dog. What other pets are there?
Anything in your house. And we also want to thank Cassie for joining us. It was actually amazing. Your insight next to
Thank you.
Thank you. So hopefully you join us again, and our viewers will see you on the next one.